Hey, welcome back. Well, I've got my tools here. A knife, X-Acto knife would be nice. I have those somewhere else. 3/16 socket, deep well. Some tweezers. I like to refer to this as a solder sucker. Some very, very fine rosin core solder. Some desoldering braid and some rosin core soldering flux should I need it. Now, I don't know how far I'm going to get into this repair, but I'll probably need some needle nose if I get really deep into it, and then a pair of cutters to facilitate some little wires that need to be cut. Okay, in case I didn't push record, I will tell you that there's 4 screws about this size. They are 3/16 and they are in each corner of this unit here that I'm going to try and repair to get this backlighting working. Now I might go into other repairs on it depending what I find, but for now 4 screws from each corner are removed with a 3/16 nut driver if you have it. You take the back cover off, and I've already removed 4 more screws that are the same size, 3/16 in each corner of this circuit board. Now, the best way I found to get this circuit board loose is to turn it upside down and push on the pins a little bit. This board wants to come out in an even manner on each side. This side and that other side. Anyway, you push on the pins, or you can shake it. This thing will fall right out. Now, what I want to do is disconnect this wire, or this wiring harness, from this circuit board. And it just pulls loose like that. And now you have the circuit board out. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 resistors, and they say 241 on them. This looks different than some of the other circuit boards. I don't know why. Okay, it is my understanding that these 8 resistors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, are all in parallel, and if you read across either one of them, you should come up with about 30.17 ohms, somewhere in that area. There are 241 resistors. It says 241 ohms on each one. So, well, that one's lifted up right there. I can see that. There's part of the problem right there. Wow, that's a terrible solder joint. I haven't even touched this. Anyway, I do not get 30.17 ohms. They're always high. So any of these resistors are not soldered in properly, you will end up with a reading that is higher than 30.17. So I'm going to attempt to put a little solder on the base. If you see me shaking, it's because I've had too much caffeine. So I'm going to check these again, see if that made any difference. That one says 51, 58. So I'm going to go ahead and touch them all up, see what I end up with then. Okay, let's check one and see what happens. Okay. 31. 31. 31. Actually, I don't have to check them all. I just needed to check one, and if it comes up 31, that takes them all into consideration. Okay, what I want to do is set this board aside, bring in the meter. Okay, make sure my meter zeroes out on me, and test the light bulbs. They're little bitty things. They're like, if the light bulb's good, it's going to read 0. If it's open, it's not going to read anything. And I got nothing on that one. Now what I need to do, I guess, is to flip it over, take off the knobs, and push this panel out. The knobs are just, yes, pressed on. They're pressed on knobs, and you just pull them off. Then there's nuts and washers. There we go, nuts and washers. This driver's side control is stiff. It is being a pain. Okay. And the little gasket there is there. There's a lot of little bulbs here, I gotta tell you. And you might be able to see that one looks burnt. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one looks burnt. 9. That looks burnt. 10, 11, 12, 13 of them. Okay, 13. Oh, there's 14. Let me count these again. Well, oh, here it is. 14 bulbs. It's over on this side, and yeah, he looks burnt out too. Just got my replacement parts in, and I'll leave a link in the description, below the description, for these parts. I'm not going to use all of these, but I've got some solder here. I have $14 bulbs, and they're incandescent bulbs. They're not LEDs. Solder. I have looks like 4 capacitors. The little micro switches and the resistors themselves. So you know, I did not do anything but solder the resistors. So far they seem to be reading what they're supposed to on the meter. The capacitors I may change, but I am not real sure yet. The ones in there, they look good, and I don't like to change anything unless I have to. The micro switches, they all seem to be working good. When I was pushing the buttons, they all seem to light up. So I don't think I'll be changing those either. And but I will probably be changing out all the light bulbs, of course. I've been using a little desoldering braid to remove the solder from these very small connections, and it seems to be working, along with this solder sucker tool. I've replaced a few bulbs already, and this seems to be the best way for me to go about it at the moment. Okay, this is, yeah, you can, this is basically how I'm doing it. does get the board a little warm. And that does remove a lot of the solder. And then you just snip off the end of the braid when you get too much solder on it. Doesn't quite get them out all the way, but most of the way. Now I can just heat up the tips a little bit and pull it out with my fingers. And you can feel the sides turn loose. And there's another little light bulb. Okay, now to install the new bulb. And I just take the little ears and separate them and turn them over. There's circles where these go. I push it in like that. Turn it back over. Separate the ears. Like that. Then I hit them with a little solder and I'm done. Doesn't take much. Then I like to take my meter and check if I still see if I have continuity between the bulb filament. Yep. And then I take and snip off the little ends. You can get hold of them with your fingers. Okay, moving right along. I got another bulb right down here. That seems to remove some of the solder. I can still see the little pins sticking through. Need to get a hold of that little bulb, and I'm going to use my tweezers to do it. My tweezers want to slip off. I'm going to use my fingers to do it. Seems to be one pin that's holding it. Just a little bit. Okay. A little bit of solder was still holding it, so I got it off. And there's the bulb. You can see that it's burnt out, it's black. Take the new bulb. I've already tested it with my multimeter to make sure it's good. And just put it through 2 holes that are open. And I'm going to bend the little pins to the side. Hold it in place, straight up and down generally. Alright, now I'm going to take my soldering iron, a little solder. And that bulb is in. I know you can't see the meter, but I want to check it with my meter just to make sure everything's okay. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to clip the little ears off. Okay, they're removed. I'm going to try the solder sucker on this one. See See how it goes. Okay. So let me check and see if I have all the bulbs in, and if they're there, then I'll start putting this thing back together a little bit. See what happens. Everything looks good to me. Okay, I want to make sure that my screen in here is clean. Seems to be. And this one's as clean as I'm going to get it. So I think what I might want to do is fix this little rubber goodie first. So you can see how that goes. My bulb's all lined up in there. So put the whole thing back together now. It's my understanding that this being the top, that these control switches, plug-ins, need to be facing this way from the top. Top's here. Driver's side just freely rotates. Reconnect this. Snaps right in. The main thing is to get these pins lined up. Yeah, you gotta get it kind of started at the same time on both sides. Seems to be there. Now I have 4 screws that I need to put back in. Those 4 screws are in. And I'll put the case back on. Four more screws to go. I can get to these, I think. Yeah. Now I'm going to go put it back in the Corvette and hook it up. See if we got any lights on the dial. Okay, I got it plugged in. Just going to set it up in there. Just want to see if anything comes on. Hold it with my thumb. Turn the key on. Oh my goodness, looky there. Mode. It's pointing to the head. Feet and head. Ah, defrost and feet. Kind of like that part right there. This is front and rear. Front. I believe that's the wires for the defrost in the rear, so I'm not going to play with that. Let's see if it goes off. External 53 degrees Fahrenheit. So the repair was a success. I'm very pleased. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back. Turn the key off. Okay, I've got everything back together, and I'm going to go ahead and play with a few of the controls and see what happens. Okay, I didn't try the dial previously, and so that's working. That's pretty nice. And we know the fan works. And this is external. This is recirculate. Mode. We went through modes before. That's the one I think I'll use for right now. I can turn it off. It's set for 80. It's a climate control. External is 49 degrees. That's the outside temperature. Turn it back on. I'm not sure how the passenger thing works. Passenger. So I'm pleased with it so far. I'll have to read up on how that works in the owner's manual, but I am satisfied that all my little things light up, and I know it does on the rear. I don't want to turn that one on now. I turn it on and turn it off. There we go. Front's off. Put it on recirculate. AC is not charged, so that's not going to work. And then just turn it off. Well, that'll do it for this video, and until the next video, thanks for watching and subscribing. And this is Cars, Trucks, and Detours, aka Steve AZ 711. And bye for now.